Hello, and welcome to Dreamy Tales, a sanctuary where everyone can experience calm and a touch of magic before gently drifting into sleep. Tonight, we invite you on another enchanting journey, a story that helps soothe the mind and nurture a sense of peace. Before we begin, let's take a moment to prepare our bodies and minds for a comforting, restorative rest. Make yourself cozy, and with each slow inhale and long exhale, let the cares of the day gradually slip away. It's not always easy to step back from the day's demands, especially as night falls. Yet, remember, the less we worry about how quickly we'll fall asleep, the simpler it is for our minds to release any remaining tension. Allow the gentle flow of your breathing to wash away lingering concerns, and let the story ahead guide you into a state of deep relaxation. Now, settle in, and let the dreamy atmosphere softly wrap around you. Enjoy this story, and may you drift into a peaceful, restful slumber here on Dreamy Tales. Within a wood steeped in old magic, where emerald ferns unfurl beside clusters of violet asters, lies a realm apart. Here, amidst fragrant blooms and trees of venerable majesty, mythical beings dwell within a clandestine sanctuary. Its threshold remains veiled, concealed by a colossal drape of trembling ivy, a living curtain guarding the passage. Beyond it, blades of grass, impossibly tall and clinging to the moss-soft earth, ascend until they weave a secondary canopy overhead, rendering the arched gateway to this secret garden nearly invisible, a seclusion cherished by its inhabitants. Yet, despite this meticulous concealment, whispers of the garden's legend have occasionally drawn intrepid souls, adventurers who somehow navigated the leafy labyrinth and circumvented the guardian stationed there. Ethelgard, the enigma of the archway, possesses the keen head of a lynx, the vast, feathered wings of a peregrine, and the powerful body and tail of a lioness. Its eyes, great golden-brown orbs, hold pupils like slivers of obsidian, almond-shaped and deep. Though armed with formidable teeth and claws meant to deter intruders, Ethelgard harbors a spirit too gentle to harm even a moth. This placid nature, reflected in its kind gaze, belies a latent magic potent enough to unravel a human's very name from their memory, should the need arise. Ethelgard stands as one of the earliest entries in the forest's chronicle, a leather-bound bestiary inscribed with shimmering gold script upon its cover, preserved beneath a glass cloche on a stoned plinth within the rose garden. This tome meticulously catalogues the sanctuary's denizens, their arrival, their unique gifts, their designated roles. Ethelgard's commission is clear: Warden of the Gate. Behind the cascading ivy veil, the arching gateway itself is a marvel, wreathed in blossoms of pink and white, shaped like tiny, delicate hearts. Forged from wrought iron into elaborate arabesques, its surface depicts intricate pastoral scenes: rabbits, foxes, and deer cavorting amongst twining vines and fantastical flowers. While on duty, Ethelgard often assumes its preferred posture: prone, forelegs extended regally, hind legs tucked neatly at its sides. When tedium sets in, as it frequently does, the guardian might meticulously groom a paw, indulge in a languid stretch, or drift into slumber, only stirring when roused by one of the garden's diminutive caretakers. Now, the dell-dwellers, though small in stature, shoulder immense responsibilities within this secret garden. These miniature horticulturists, identifiable by their weathered complexions, snowy beards, and pointed conical caps, are the true custodians of this hidden paradise. They reside in a quaint hamlet just beyond the gate, a cluster of hollows nestled at the roots of soaring evergreens, surrounded by oval flower beds. In their leisure hours, they diligently knit thick sweaters and socks, spinning yarn from resilient bamboo grass fibers. The dell-dwellers labor tirelessly, ensuring their cherished garden flourishes. This involves overseeing certain mythical residents who feign industry while actually indulging in idleness. The nectar sprites, in particular, exhibit a notable inclination towards shirking their tasks. These fey creatures, resembling elves with pointed ears and four shimmering, elongated wings like dragonflies, inhabit a nearby meadow where larkspur blooms like scattered blue stars. Designated as the garden's assessors, the nectar sprites are meant to hover above the blossoms, tiny clipboards seemingly in hand, reporting to the dell-dwellers on the quality of the nectar favored by the garden's bees. More often than not, however, they abandon their duties, drawn instead to the allure of wild blackberries ripening in thickets near the cherry trees. The cherry blossom field is a breathtaking expanse, a wonderland perpetually adrift in pink as countless petals detach from mature trees, blanketing the ground in a soft, rosy sea. This ethereal place is the domain of Sylvana, the nine-tailed whisper. In her innate guise, she is a fox of elegant proportions, with long, slender legs, a sharply pointed muzzle, and a coat of purest white that seems to capture and reflect the sunlight. Yet, Sylvana is a mistress of metamorphosis, frequently adopting other shapes. Sometimes, much to the annoyance of the actual dell-dwellers, she masquerades as one of them. Sylvana ranks among the most ancient beings in this sylvan realm. Her kind accrues tales throughout their long lives, up to a maximum of 9. Currently, she possesses 7, each a distinct hue of the rainbow, testament to her vast age, a subject she politely avoids. Her very essence, her life force and magic, resides within a smooth, round gemstone that pulses with a gentle, warm yellow light. This precious object is hers alone, typically nestled deep within her most voluminous tail, guarded with utmost care. When she assumes other forms, like her favored panda guise whose black and white fur complements it perfectly, she wears the gem upon a white leather collar adorned with tiny gold stars. In her natural vulpine shape, she delights in idling beneath the cherry boughs, meticulously grooming her radiant fur as pink petals descend around her like silent snowfall. 2 centaurs also grace the garden with their presence. They favor strolling through the cherry blossoms during the dew-kissed hours of early morning. These half-human, half-equine beings are siblings, Corbin and Lyra, yet strikingly dissimilar in appearance. Corbin, the brother, stands a commanding 7 feet tall, possessing the glossy black mane of a stallion, sun-kissed olive skin, and thoughtful hazel eyes. Lyra, his sister, is slightly shorter at 6 feet, with a fair complexion naturally rosy cheeks, and eyes the color of shallow tropical waters. Her mane is a cascade of platinum blonde, typically worn in a single thick braid that reaches her knees. Corbin and Lyra fulfill a crucial, albeit infrequent, duty. They are tasked with quietly intercepting any unexpected visitors who breach the garden's secrecy, escorting them back to the arched gate where Ethelgard can gently erase their memories of the sanctuary. Afterwards, they observe silently as the oblivious intruders depart through the swaying ivy curtain. Though visitors are rare, the siblings approach their responsibility with gravity, partly due to their close friendship with the diligent Dell dwellers. According to the Dell dwellers, intruders, particularly humans, present a significant challenge. Humans, they lament, bring unintended chaos. They pluck the rare golden flowers without a thought for the gentle ogres who painstakingly cultivate them. They carelessly trample the vibrant beds of scarlet poppies and pink tulips meticulously tended by Asterion, the bloom warden. This imposing figure, a man with the head of a bull and a long, brown, tufted tail, wields a gleaming silver axe, more often used for careful pruning than defense. He invests years nurturing his floral charges and sighs with profound weariness when his work is trodden underfoot. The Dell dwellers find it perplexing that some of their mythical neighbors possess human lineage, yet those creatures often display more understanding, recognizing that most humans are driven by curiosity rather than malice. This leads some Dell dwellers to question Ethelgard's continued suitability as gatekeeper. Perhaps, they muse, the formidable Asterion himself might prove a more effective deterrent. To deliberate such matters, the Dell dwellers convene a council of elders, occasionally gathering in a circular clearing amidst a field of nodding daisies. On one such day, the question of Ethelgard and its guardianship is revisited. A Dell dweller, whose pointed hat is pulled so low it obscures her eyes, argues that the gentle guardian is no longer fit for the role. Her attire, a white dress, yellow belt, and green hat, perfectly mirrors the colors of the surrounding daisies, prompting quiet speculation among her peers about this sartorial choice. She contends that humans have grown wise to the ways of sphinxes, knowing their inherent compulsion to pose riddles. Intruders now cleverly bargain passage into the garden, merely by offering to solve one. However, the elder presiding over the council offers a different perspective. Perhaps the solution lies not in replacing Ethelgard, but in arming it with more challenging enigmas, true conundrums that would baffle even the sharpest human minds. Yet, when the Dell dweller in the daisy-hued attire requests an example, the head elder's brow furrows in concentration. Crafting rhymes sufficiently complex to thwart clever humans proves difficult. "Allow me an attempt," volunteers another elder, clad in a blue tunic and black hat, stroking his lengthy beard. "Black of eye and bright of hair," he recites. "My feet are planted firmly there. I love the sun upon my face and follow it from place to place. What am I?" The assembled Dell dwellers shake their heads collectively. A sunflower, they chorus. The riddle is far too simple. After thoughtful deliberation, the council concedes that their knowledge is too deeply rooted in horticulture. Humans would inevitably decipher their nature-based riddles. Best to leave Ethelgard where it is, at the gate, concludes the head elder. Ultimately, the gentle guardian remains the most adept at managing the curious humans drawn into the enchanted wood. Besides, only Ethelgard possesses the unique magic required to veil their memories afterwards, should intervention become necessary. With the matter settled, the dell dwellers disperse, returning to their hollows beneath the trees or resuming their tending of garden plots. When Sylvana isn't luxuriating beneath the cherry blossoms, she fulfills her duty as the garden's messenger, relaying the dell dwellers' directives to other inhabitants. Her first destination, the topiary garden, where Triptych, the verdant sculptor, spends his days shaping dense green shrubs into fantastical forms. Triptych is arguably the most accomplished gardener of them all, a fact that might seem surprising, given his nature. He possesses 3 distinct heads, one of a goat, one of a lion, and one of a serpent, each with its own thoughts and inclinations. Yet the one pursuit they unanimously adore is gardening. When it's time to exercise his considerable green thumb, his 3 minds work in remarkable harmony, pooling their diverse creative impulses. Indeed, 3 heads prove better than one, enabling him to conjure magnificent living sculptures. He cultivates towering boxwoods in varying shades of green, expertly coaxing them into whimsical shapes, using an array of pruners, shears, and loppers that resemble oversized scissors. His artistry knows few bounds. From solitary bushes he carves pensive gargoyles, hunched introspectively, fists propping up chins. From broad hedges he sculpts cheerful trolls, their long, bushy hair seemingly standing on end with mirth. His creations often honor fellow denizens of the secret garden. One such subject is the colossal Ophidian coil, the great serpent whose task involves preparing land for new plantings, plowing acres of soil with its powerful jaws. Triptych sculpts his serpentine friend coiled into a perfect circle, mouth grasping its own tail. Adjacent stands a representation of Cinderwing, the majestic avian with plumage of scarlet and gold, and a flowing blue crest like a bridal train. Triptych fashions the Cinderwing topiary from a honeysuckle bush, whose red blooms resemble tiny firecrackers, and whose smaller golden flowers evoke sleigh bells, a fitting medium for the fiery bird known for its cycles of combustion and rebirth. The placement next to the serpent is also deliberate, acknowledging the long-standing, albeit mostly amicable rivalry between these 2 particular immortals. On the matter of eternal life, Ophidian Coil maintains there is room in the garden for only one true symbol of perpetual renewal, an endless cycle of beginning, ending, and beginning again. Cinderwing concurs, having risen from its own ashes countless times. However, Cinderwing refuses to yield the title of preeminent immortal to the serpent, citing its own seniority in the annals of myth. The truth, however, is obscured by time. The precise origins of both creatures are lost. According to Cinderwing, crucial evidence vanished in flames. It once possessed an ancient papyrus scroll detailing its own genesis, definitively settling the question of which creature was elder. Papyrus, that tea-stained paper derived from the grassy reeds along the Nile, held the answer. When the Council of Elder Dell-Dwellers convened to address the best immortal dispute, they requested Cinderwing produce this document. Crestfallen, the bird confessed it had inadvertently incinerated the scroll long ago during a heated argument with Arion, a griffin. Arion, once a companion, had boastfully declared itself the paramount mythical bird, provoking Cinderwing's fiery temper beyond endurance. Unable to contain the inferno within, Cinderwing had burst into flames, tragically consuming the very proof held in its talons. How, Cinderwing lamented to the council, could a griffin possibly claim superiority? Griffins, after all, are hybrids, part eagle, part lion, not wholly avian. Admittedly intelligent, a trait worn plainly on their aquiline faces, and undeniably strong, with leonine bodies and sharp talons. But this does not a great bird make, Cinderwing argued passionately. A phoenix endures forever. What could possibly surpass that? What of a serpent that endures forever? The head Dell-Dweller interjected quietly, gesturing towards Ophidian coil, which had been silently encircling the assembly. And so, with its proof of origin lost to its own fiery nature, Cinderwing reluctantly agreed to share the title of Best Immortal Creature with the serpent, but only on the condition that the council formally recognized the mighty phoenix as superior to any griffin. So be it, declared the Council of Dell-Dwellers, and the case was closed. As twilight deepens and the sun dips below the forest's edge, most creatures within the secret garden conclude their labors. Yet for two inhabitants, the workday is just commencing with the arrival of night. Boreas Frostbeard, the frost giant, emerges from his shadowed cave as the sky transforms into a vast, dark canvas pricked with myriad stars. This colossal being is sculpted from deep blue ice, faceted like an enormous, finely cut gem. He sports two immense horns of pale blue ice, eyes that glow with an inner cold light, and a beard composed of glittering white icicles. He carries a massive gold and silver sledgehammer, often employed to clear terrain for new seedlings. Boreas Frostbeard's cavern lies at the garden's heart, within a modest mountain whose solitary peak just crests the forest canopy, an ideal vantage point for his duties as senior irrigation specialist, a title he bears with considerable pride. Standing atop the summit, the frost giant draws a deep, resonant breath. Upon exhaling, a cool, misty vapor billows across the land, dispersing thousands of minute ice particles in every direction. This frosty breath coats the topiary garden, the cherry blossom field, and the flower beds bristling with lupins resembling stalks of blue corn. His breath also blankets the intricate garden maze, its winding hedges easily navigated, blindfolded by the centaurs in one of their favorite games. This nightly chilling aids the morning dew, keeping the soil moist until sunrise warms the flora. Occasionally, however, his breath proves too effective, chilling the air excessively and putting delicate flower and vegetable beds at risk of freezing solid. This is where the frost giant's loyal, four-legged companion intervenes. Emberhound of the Secret Garden is a cheerful, three-headed, fire-breathing canine with kind blue eyes, a short coat of gray fur, and a spiky, dragon-like tail. In ages past, Emberhound guarded the gates to the underworld. Now, he faithfully serves as the garden's official warmer. Each night, he pads silently amongst the plants, his three noses sniffing out areas dangerously close to freezing. Upon locating such a spot, he curls up within it, emanating a gentle, pervasive warmth. Plants, flowers, and groves within a considerable radius quickly revive, shaking off their icy torpor. On nights when his warming services aren't required, Emberhound often pays a visit to Ethelgard at the garden gate, treading softly on his paws so as not to disturb the slumbering dell-dwellers. Emberhound and Ethelgard forged a strong bond over their shared history of guardianship. The three-headed dog, after all, understands security, having protected the underworld's entrance for millennia. The two friends converse quietly beneath the arched gateway, the red flowers entwined above now rendered in shades of gray by the moonlight. Ethelgard rests in its customary pose, forelegs outstretched, hind legs tucked. It voices a new riddle taking shape in its complex mind. I sound like a place where roses and daisies might go to sleep. It murmurs, its voice a low rumble. It is not humans who count sheep here, but dandelions, daffodils, and mythical creatures like you and me. What am I? All three of Emberhound's heads seem to grin. A flower bed, he answers, his voice a warm counterpoint to the cool night air. As the two guardians talk late into the night, the secret garden beyond the gate sleeps profoundly beneath the star-strewn sky. Within it, contented dell-dwellers rest soundly in their hollows, dreaming of white lilies, murmuring brooks, and the peaceable company of mythical friends, bathed in the serene light of a beautiful moon. Barcelona, sun-drenched afternoon. Down La Rambla, the grand promenade, a gentle sea, zephyr drifted, a soft counterpoint to the Mediterranean sun's embrace. The day pulsed with beauty, a vibrant throng spilling onto the boulevard, soaking in the atmosphere. For Alara, a ceramicist visiting from Los Angeles, this marked her inaugural full day, dedicated entirely to a walking pilgrimage through Gaudi's architectural marvels. His visionary spirit had long captivated her. Finally witnessing his creations firsthand promised an infusion of artistic fire she felt certain would reshape her own work. She found the designated rendezvous point with time to spare, a perfect window to seek sustenance. Her choice, tortilla de patatas, a cherished echo from her college days working in a Spanish eatery. The tree-canopied boulevard teemed with vendors, the air thick with tempting aromas. Tortilla, that unassuming yet profound omelet of egg and potato, represented ultimate comfort. Simple, nourishing, delicious. As the last morsel vanished, Ilara discerned a woman holding aloft a sign bearing the tour's insignia. Approaching, she offered her name. Simultaneously, others began coalescing, their voices a low hum of anticipation, particularly fixated on Gaudi's legendary Sagrada Familia Cathedral. Sophia, their guide, beckoned them into a circle to commence the exploration. She began by painting a historical context for Gaudí, outlining the quartet of structures awaiting their discovery. Antoni Gaudí, she explained, was born in 1852, here in Spain's Catalan heartland. At 18, Barcelona called him, beckoning him to the study of architecture. His youth was marked by a deep captivation with patterns, especially the organic geometries abundant in nature, a fascination that would thread through his entire life's work, becoming a signature in his designs. Considered a solitary figure, a touch eccentric perhaps, Gaudí possessed a visionary mind, perceiving space and geometry with startling ingenuity. Craftsmanship was an integral component of his design philosophy. Ceramics, stained glass, wrought iron, carpentry, intricate ceramic mosaics, all found inventive applications within his architectural tapestry. His creations drew inspiration from the trinity of nature, faith, and geometry. He emerged as a standard-bearer for the Modernism movement, Catalan modernism, flourishing in the late 19th century. Yet, his output ultimately defied categorization, as he was perpetually pushing boundaries, relentlessly innovating beyond the confines of established styles. Consumed by his artistry, Gaudí labored intensely until his final days. Today, his global popularity is immense. He stands as a celebrated architect whose 7 World Heritage Sites continue to draw pilgrims from every corner of the globe. Before they proceeded towards the first edifice, Sophia lingered, inviting queries. The group conversed briefly, then resumed their meander down the expansive pedestrian thoroughfare. The breeze whispered through the plane trees overhead, carrying the tantalizing aroma of cinnamon and sugar from a nearby churro stand. Ilara couldn't resist. A quick purchase later, she walked on, savoring the warm, crunchy, sugar-dusted bite of fried dough, a contented smile blooming on her face. Their initial destination, Palau Güell, erected between 1885 and 1890. This palace represented Gaudí's inaugural major commission from his enduring patron, Eusebi Güell, a private mansion situated in a coveted city enclave. Its street, notably, was Barcelona's first to boast paving and a drainage system. Palau Güell served a dual function, housing Güell's considerable family and providing a stage for high society soirees. The residence pivoted around an opulent central hall where Güell would host his gatherings. Visitors arrived via horse-drawn carriage, passing through imposing iron gates. While the animals were quartered in the subterranean stables, guests ascended to the receiving chamber. Externally, the Palau presented a comparatively restrained facade, contrasting sharply with its richly adorned interior. The principal party room featured apertures in the ceiling, designed to hold lanterns that would evoke a celestial canopy. A hallmark of Gaudí's inventive design flourishes. Despite the exterior's relative simplicity, Gaudí infused it with creativity, masterfully fusing stonework, ironwork, and ceramics to conjure an aesthetic reminiscent of Florentine Renaissance palaces. Symbolic elements adorned the entrance doors, hinting at strength and the cultural and economic renaissance then blossoming in Catalan society. While Palau Güell epitomizes Gaudí's early career, it contains numerous elements he would continue to refine. Evident here is his masterful manipulation of space, his approach wedding the aesthetic to the functional, and the clear integration of organic motifs inspired by the natural world. Moving onward from Palau Güell, Elara felt the afternoon sun warm upon her skin, the distinct texture of the Barcelona pavement beneath her feet. A profound sense of gratitude washed over her to be here, finally, immersed in the world of one of her artistic heroes. Next beckoned Casa Batlló, a project Gaudí undertook between 1904 and 1906. The proprietor, Senyor Batlló, granted Gaudí complete artistic liberty, resulting in a radical transformation of the facade and the metamorphosis of the interior into a veritable artwork. Colloquially, the building is known as Casa dels Ossos, the House of Bones, owing to its architectural structure's biomorphic, skeletal essence. Gaudí's nature-inspired designs grew increasingly sophisticated over time. He found endless inspiration in tree trunks, in bones, translating nature's lexicon into functional forms. A scarcity of rectilinear forms marks the Casa Batlló design. Gaudí favored the fluid aesthetic of curves. Much of the facade scintillates with colorful mosaics, fashioned from fragmented ceramic tiles, the Trenquedis technique. The roof of Casa Batlló, tiled in iridescent hues, ripples as if echoing the spine of some mythical dragon or ancient behemoth, radiating an aura of whimsy and enchantment. It possesses a storybook quality, the dragon roof appearing poised to spring to life, soaring into the sky. Some have theorized that symbols relating to St. George and the dragon are woven throughout the house. St. George, the legendary vanquisher of the dragon, often symbolizes underdog locales, Catalonia included. The ground floor shares this dreamlike quality, featuring irregular oval windows and undulating stone walls that cultivate a sense of expansiveness and fluidity. Despite its organic feel and curving forms, the design is exceptionally functional and innovative. Indeed, Gaudí was known to spearhead architectural techniques that wouldn't enter the mainstream for another century. His work has, at various junctures, been labeled Art Nouveau, Gothic Revival, and Modernism. Yet, Gaudí resisted facile categorization. He was a true innovator, a creative force majeure. He demonstrated a profound grasp of structure and form, refining older styles by pioneering novel techniques and aesthetics. His designs were efficient, dynamic, wildly imaginative, and visually captivating, all while refusing allegiance to any single stylistic doctrine. Gaudí's oeuvre is distinguished by its deep veneration for the natural world, its organic forms, and its harmonious, playful compositions. Emerging from Casa Batlló, Elara radiated with newfound inspiration and sheer awe. She could scarcely comprehend the singular beauty of the House of Bones. To read about it, to see photographs, these paled in comparison to the visceral experience of standing before it. To her artistic sensibility, it felt like exploring a captivating yet sophisticated confection. She appreciated its playful eccentricity, balanced with its testament to functional brilliance. Lingering, she gazed back, attempting to etch its image indelibly into her memory. As she stood, a light breeze stirred, tousling her short hair across her face. She quickened her pace to rejoin the group as they continued their ascent. The tour proceeded to Casa Milà, an apartment building constructed between 1906 and 1912, more famously nicknamed La Pedrera, the stone quarry. Casa Milà is defined by its undulating stone curtain wall, bearing its own weight. This structural innovation permits larger windows, flooding the apartments with natural light, and allows for more malleable interior configurations. Its unique design, marked by an avant-garde appearance for its era, earned it the Quarry moniker. In the early 1900s, Passeig de Gracia was an illustrious boulevard in Barcelona, lined with iconic and exclusive edifices. It became the address of choice for the city's elite. These affluent residents commissioned the most eminent architects of the day, seeking homes that would assert their status and win admiration amongst their peers. Consistent with his signature style, Gaudí designed a striking roof terrace replete with curves and crowned with fantastical chimney stacks. Some evoke faceted monoliths, others intricate lattices or swirling arabesques. While serving distinct architectural purposes, these features are veritable sculptures, clad in fragments of marble, lava rock, and ceramic tiles that Gaudí sought to repurpose. His meticulous attention to detail and his synthesis of utility and artistry are fully manifest here. The design of Casa Milà embraces unbroken sinuosity, both externally and internally. It comprises two distinct building masses, organized around a pair of courtyards that illuminate 9 stories. The overall layout resembles a figure 8, deliberately skewed, as the courtyards vary uniquely in size and shape. Here again, Gaudí continued to innovate, evolving his own design language. From La Pedrera's terrace, the Sagrada Familia, Gaudí's magnum opus and their final destination was discernible on the horizon. The anticipation of finally approaching it was almost tangible within the group. Ilara had glimpsed its unmistakable pinnacles punctuating the skyline since her arrival, but had not yet beheld its full grandeur up close. With a considerable walk ahead to reach the basilica, Sophia offered historical context as they progressed. Construction, she recounted, commenced in 1882. A year later, following the original architect's resignation, Gaudí assumed the mantle of chief architect. This transition profoundly altered the project's trajectory, as Gaudí transformed the initial plans, infusing them with his characteristic blend of Gothic influence and sinuous Art Nouveau aesthetic. Although Gaudí would devote his remaining years to this monumental undertaking, at the time of his death in 1926, the project stood less than a quarter complete. Progress on the Sagrada Familia crawled, dependent as it was upon private patronage. The Spanish Civil War halted work abruptly in 1936. Revolutionaries desecrated the building, and partially destroyed Gaudi's original plans and models. Nearly 15 years were required to painstakingly reassemble the fractured remnants of the master maquette, postponing significant construction until the 1950s. Gaudí, keenly aware he would not witness the Sagrada Familia's completion, crafted meticulous maquettes to ensure his vision could one day be fully realized. This foresight fueled the dedication to painstakingly reconstructing his models after the wartime damage. His intention in designing the Sagrada Familia was audacious, to chronicle the entire history of the Catholic faith within a single edifice. A fervent Catholic, Gaudí harbored the ambition to erect the perfect temple, depicting the narrative of Jesus' life and the history of faith. Decades later, the Sagrada Familia remains a work in progress. Upon completion, it will claim the title of Barcelona's loftiest structure and the world's most elevated ecclesiastical edifice. They were drawing near now. The basilica's staggering beauty and uniqueness became manifest as they reached the adjacent plaza. A frisson traced Elara's skin, her heart performing a syncopated rhythm as she absorbed the spectacle. She had to pause, taking several deep breaths to center herself. She had anticipated this instant for years and refused to squander a single detail. Breathing deeply, she offered a silent prayer of thanks for this unrepeatable experience. Sophia continued her elucidation, ensuring the group understood the complex iconography before them. The basilica boasts 3 grand facades and 18 towers, each consecrated to a significant biblical figure. The pinnacles and the nativity facade feature sculptural tops reminiscent of geometric cubist forms, which gained traction in Spain during the 1930s. One particular shape, evoking the form of an hourglass, appears prominently throughout the Sagrada Familia, lending both structural integrity and aesthetic delight. Elara was especially captivated by the tall, elaborately sculpted stone pinnacles soaring high into the azure sky. They suggested tapered churros, she mused, surmounted by intricate, sculpted steeples. The exterior alone possessed such profound character. She yearned to step inside, to discover the magic held within. The moment Elara crossed the threshold, she was enveloped by a breathtaking kaleidoscope of light and hue. Sunlight filtered through the stained glass windows, creating a transcendent, sensory immersion of reverence and astonishment. Turning, she observed how the interior columns evoked towering, ramifying trees, ascending towards the vaulted ceiling. Gaudí intended the interior to simulate a sylvan sanctuary, an allegory for humanity's potential closeness to the divine. The monumental feat of engineering required to realize this vision must have been staggering. Mirroring Gaudí's earlier constructions, the Sagrada Familia exhibits an absence of planar surfaces or straight lines. Gaudí conceived of every space sculpturally. Here, columns transition from square plinths through octagonal and helical forms, ultimately resolving into circles. Diverse geometric forms converge, generating dynamic, shifting planes. And the ornamentation, the wrought iron railings, the stairways, the decorative flourishes, pulsed with expressive curves and inventive flourishes, as if space itself had detonated into artistry. Elara traversed the vast interior slowly, determined to absorb every incredible detail every scintilla of genius. It was utterly singular, unlike anything she had ever encountered. Infinitely stimulating, endlessly fascinating. She could truly grasp how Gaudí had synthesized all his experimental discoveries into this culminating masterpiece. The church felt structurally robust, harmoniously balanced, and aesthetically sophisticated. A profound degree of detail and craftsmanship was everywhere apparent. The organic, nature-inspired design elements were organically integrated into the magnificent whole. His unwavering commitment to this project resonated deeply. She recalled the stories of his struggle to secure independent funding, persevering through the vicissitudes of civil war, vandalism, economic turmoil, and personal trials. Until the very end, Gaudí spent the final 43 years of his life utterly immersed in the design and construction of the Sagrada Familia. Today, the basilica stands not merely as a symbol of Barcelona, but is renowned and frequented by millions worldwide. It was and continues to be a highly complex, innovative, and magisterial undertaking of artistic vision and architectural prowess. Sophia convened the assembly for a final farewell. She encouraged them to linger, to contemplate Gaudí's magnum opus for as long as they wished, to truly relish its myriad special details. Ilara resolved to do precisely that. She drifted back towards a stained glass window, watching the prismatic refractions ricocheting off the stone floor, playing upon her skin. She wanted to allow the sensation to permeate, to deepen. Closing her eyes momentarily, she drew slow, full breaths, feeling the sun's warmth, striving to be wholly immersed in this moment. Ilara murmured her thanks for this exquisite day, wishing she could arrest time, linger forever in this entrancing sanctuary.